Coming up on First at 4, the man accused of causing a crash that killed a London police officer makes his first court appearance. And more than 130 people are dead following a bridge collapse in India.
Boo! Still keeping an eye on the possibility for a few showers tonight for Trick or Treat. The latest forecast coming up as Mountain News First at 4 starts now.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News First at 4.
Good afternoon, I'm Steve Hensley. First at 4, we are learning more about a Southern Kentucky police officer that died and the man accused of causing his death. London officer Logan Medlock was killed after police say a car collided with his cruiser in London. Police say that driver, Casey Bird, was under the influence of alcohol. WYMT's Phil Pendleton has more on the charges and what he's learned about the officer from Laurel County.
A memorial to Officer Logan Kendall Medlock set up here in front of the London Police Department, where he had only worked for a couple of years at the police department where his father also worked for as assistant chief. Officer Medlock had just graduated from the Department of Criminal Justice Training in January of 2020. He had a big impact, in fact, winning several awards for arresting drunk drivers. Sadly and tragically, it was a drunk driver that investigators say ended his life. Just before 1 o'clock Sunday morning, as he was leaving a friend's house after watching a football game, arrest papers say Casey Bird collided with Medlock's cruiser at the intersection of Kentucky 229 and South Main Street. Police say Bird's alcohol level was .294 and he smelled of alcohol and failed a number of tests on the scene. They say that he unlawfully, intentionally, and wantonly operated a motor vehicle under the influence of intoxicants. A judge entered a not guilty plea for him today on murder of a police officer and DUI charges. And Casey Bird will be back in court next Tuesday for a preliminary hearing. He was ordered to stay in jail on a $1 million bond. In Laurel County, Phil Pendleton, now back to you.
The funeral for Officer Logan Medlock will be at noon Friday at the Corinth Baptist Church in London. Visitation will begin at 5 p.m. on Thursday. Last night, people from around the world paid tribute to Eastern Kentucky's own Loretta Lynn. The memorial celebration was held at the Grand Ole Opry House in Nashville, where thousands of family, friends, and fans gathered to celebrate her life. Many Eastern Kentucky natives even made their way to Nashville to be part of the special event.
The tribute was super special, so all of Loretta's fans were there, and a lot of other artists who were very popular there to kind of pay tribute to her and talk about how she paved the way for them. So it was really special to get to see that.
Alan Jackson, George Strait, Tanya Tucker, and Winona Judd were among the performers. We'll have more on the service and hear from others that attended tonight at 6. Last month, we told you about a widespread water outage in Harlan County. Now there's been another one. Officials with Harlan County Emergency Management posted on their Facebook page the outage is affecting those in the city of Everett and customers of the Black Mountain Utility District. Officials with the city of Everett posted on their page yesterday they were asking people to conserve water, but they have not given a reason for the latest outage. We have reached out to the city but have not yet heard back.
Well, we are slowly getting things drying out there as our ghouls and goblins prepare for their candy hunt tonight on our way to the trick-or-treat forecast. Not too bad out there right now. Still a few showers in some spots. You can see kind of the wet ground there on our parking lot here at WYMT in Hazard. 63 here, 64 in London, 62 in Pikeville. Rather uniform temperatures this afternoon. Low to mid-60s. We're all under that cloud cover, but the showers continue to be few and far between. Right now, the heaviest downpours pushing through Mingo County, shortly into Logan County there in West Virginia, and a few more scattered showers back in the bluegrass. I can't completely rule out the possibility for a few more showers during the evening, but again, I think they'll be few and far between. So the trick-or-treat forecast, dancing mummy and all, we do have 60s as we head out there tonight. Mostly cloudy, but most of the showers should stay out of our hair. Low 60s out there, but I would grab the poncho or the umbrella just in case to be safe out there as we head through our Halloween night. And the latest, though, on when we could see a warm up in our future, that's coming up in a few minutes. Steve?
All right, Evan, thank you. Democrats and Republicans are using the same playbook in their fight for control of Congress. Candidates on both sides of the aisle are using star power to try and get out the vote. CBS's Natalie Brand has more from Capitol Hill.
With just 8 days until the election, more than 21 million Americans have already voted, according to the U.S. Elections Project.
I was in there, took 3 minutes.
Quick, in and out. I was in there less than 10 minutes.
Very easy, very simple, in and out.
Turnout remains at a record pace for midterms in Georgia, home to one of the most competitive Senate races this election season.
You saw Obama came in this past weekend.
While campaigning for U.S. Senate Monday, Republican Herschel Walker referenced the big name who visited the Peach State Friday to campaign for his opponent, Democratic incumbent Raphael Warnock.
He's been misleading people all his life, hasn't he? Because he told us to vote for Joe Biden. What is he doing for us right now?
My point is not that being a football player disqualifies you from being a senator if you had put in the work. But in the case of Reverend Warnock's opponent, there is very little evidence that he has taken any interest, bothered to learn anything about, or displayed any kind of inclination towards public service or volunteer work.
In this final stretch, the most competitive battlegrounds will get a series of high-profile visits this week as both sides hone in on their closing messages. Tuesday, former President Obama heads to Nevada, where there's a tight Senate race between Democratic incumbent Catherine Cortez Masto and Republican Adam Laxalt.
You can't take anything for granted in Nevada.
President Biden will also return to the campaign trail this week with stops in Florida Tuesday and New Mexico later this week. Former President Trump is holding rallies for Republicans in Florida, Ohio, Iowa, and Pennsylvania. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
Today, former President Donald Trump issued an endorsement for New Hampshire Senate candidate Don Bolduc. Trump praised him for being a, quote, strong and proud election denier. New Hampshire's Republican Governor Chris Sununu called Bolduc a, quote, conspiracy theory extremist just 2 months ago, but is now campaigning for him, as well as Bolduc is in a tight race with Democratic incumbent Senator Maggie Hassan. An arrest has been made in the 2017 killings of 2 teenage girls in Delphi, Indiana. Today, authorities announced Richard Allen has been charged with 2 counts of murder for the deaths of 13-year-old Abigail Williams and 14-year-old Liberty German. The 2 girls had gone on a hike during a day off from school in February 2017, but never returned. After a massive search, the girls' bodies were found 18 hours later in the woods. Authorities say the investigation is far from complete and they cannot release more details on the case just yet. A huge search is underway and the death toll is increasing after a pedestrian bridge collapsed in India, killing at least 134 people. CBS's Tina Kraus reports.
This surveillance video shows the suspension bridge starting to sway before it suddenly collapses, plunging hundreds of people into a river in western India. Some were seen clinging to cables, others wading through the water, begging for rescuers to help. Authorities say more than 400 people were celebrating the religious festival Diwali on the bridge when it gave way under the heavy weight. Ashvin Mehra says he managed to hang on and crawl to safety. He says about 20 boys were shaking the bridge just before the cables snapped. This man helped pull people from the water. He says, "I haven't slept all night. I brought a lot of children to the hospital." Police have opened a criminal investigation into why the 143-year-old bridge reopened 5 days ago, reportedly without permission, after undergoing 6 months of renovations. Tina Kraus, CBS News.
Authorities have arrested at least 9 people as part of the investigation into the deadly collapse, including some from the company that made the latest repairs. Coming up on First at 4, one museum is bringing out a cast of creepy characters just in time for Halloween.
Yikes. Continuing to keep an eye on the forecast for those ghouls and goblins tonight. That breakdown's ahead after this.
We've